Miss Sterling? Can you hear me?" The voice felt distant, muffled. Elena Sterling's eyes fluttered open to unfamiliar surroundings. The scent of motor oil filled her senses. Above her, a water-stained ceiling. This wasn't the Grand Plaza Hotel. This wasn't her business party. "You're awake. Thank goodness." A little girl with copper hair sat beside the worn couch, her green eyes wide with concern. "Uncle Garrett said you fell down. I was scared." Elena pushed herself up slowly, her silk dress wrinkled. Her head throbbed. The crowded ballroom, the crushing pressure, the room tilting. Then nothing. "Where am I?" Elena's voice came out hoarse. "You're in our home," the little girl said simply. "Uncle Garrett brought you here. I'm Lily. I'm 4 3/4. A door opened. A man stepped in carrying water. Tall, with calloused hands and grease-stained jeans, yet his eyes held unexpected gentleness. "I'm Garrett Hayes. You collapsed at the Bennett party last night. I tried getting you to a hospital, but it's Memorial Day weekend. Everything's closed. I couldn't leave you there on the floor, not with everyone just standing around taking pictures with their phones." The words hit hard. Everyone just standing around. 5 years building an empire, surrounded by the elite. Yet when she had fallen, they'd pulled out cameras instead of helping. "You brought me here? To your home?" Elena looked around the converted garage. Small, but meticulously organized. Lily's drawings covered one wall. A handmade bookshelf held children's books and repair manuals side by side. "It was either here or leave you on that cold floor," Garrett said gently. "Lily and I live upstairs. It's not the Ritz, but—" "Thank you." The words escaped before she could overthink them. "I mean it. Thank you for seeing me, for caring when no one else did." Garrett nodded, understanding passing between them. "Rest a bit longer. Lily, let's give Miss Sterling space." "Can I show her Mr. Buttons first?" Lily held up her stuffed bear. "He makes people feel better." Elena smiled genuinely for the first time in months. "I'd like that." As Lily placed the bear beside her, Elena noticed something through the open door. Garrett approached an elderly man huddled across the street. She watched as he draped a blanket around the man's shoulders, then handed him breakfast. The old man's face crumpled with gratitude. Elena's throat tightened. She'd written charity checks, attended galas, but she'd never wrapped a blanket around someone's shoulders with her own hands. "Uncle Garrett helps people," Lily said, noticing Elena's gaze. "He says everybody needs somebody sometimes. After Aunt Claire and baby Matthew went to heaven, and after my mama and daddy went to heaven, neighbors brought us food. So now we help people back." The simplicity broke something open in Elena's chest. This man who'd lost his wife, his child, now cared for his orphaned niece, still found it in himself to feed strangers. While she, who'd let loneliness harden after her parents' accident 3 years ago, had forgotten how to be kind. "Your uncle's a good man, isn't he?" Elena whispered. Lily nodded. "He fixes cars, but he really fixes people's hearts." That morning, Elena observed as Garrett opened his shop. When Mr. Patterson brought his old truck, Garrett refused payment. When a young woman arrived tearful with a broken sedan, he taught her basic maintenance free, explaining that knowledge was insurance against helplessness. "I can't afford lessons," the woman said, embarrassed. "I'm not asking you to. Just teach someone else someday. That's how kindness spreads." By noon, Elena had witnessed 6 acts of quiet generosity. No cameras, no recognition. Just a man who decided grief would make him better, not bitter. When Garrett came inside, Elena stood, steadier now, heels in hand. "I need to tell you something," she said thickly. "I came to that party straight from the office. 18 hours, no food, no sleep. So focused on closing deals, beating competitors, proving I was untouchable." I laughed bitterly. "I touched the floor pretty hard." "Success can be the loneliest prison," Garrett said kindly. Yes, I lost my parents 3 years ago. Car accident. I threw myself into work because work didn't hurt. I built walls so high that I forgot. She gestured outside. I forgot that this matters. Seeing people. Helping them. Connecting. It's not too late to remember, Garrett said quietly. Elena looked at Lily, coloring at the workbench. How do you choose kindness after losing so much? Garrett was silent, eyes distant. After Claire and Matthew died, I was angry. Then Lily's parents died, and suddenly I had this little girl looking at me, trusting me to show her life was worth living. His voice cracked. I realized I could teach her the world is cruel, or that even in darkness we can be light. So every day we choose light, because that's how we honor who we lost, by not letting loss destroy the good in us. Tears spilled down Elena's cheeks. I have dishonored them. My parents were the kindest people, and I became cold, efficient, untouchable. I need to change. Start small. One person, one moment, one choice. Elena stayed through the afternoon, helping where she could. She brought water to workers, she listened to Mrs. Liam's stories. When a homeless veteran asked for change, she sat beside him and listened for 20 minutes. As evening came, Elena stood at the garage door, reluctant to leave this humble space that had become sacred. Can I come back? She asked. Not because I need help, because I want to learn from you, from how you live. Garrett smiled warmly. The door is always open. Over following weeks, Elena returned every Saturday. She learned to change oil, fix tires, but more importantly, she learned to see people, to listen genuinely, to offer help before it was requested. At Sterling Enterprises, she initiated Skills and Service, where employees learned practical trades, then volunteered those skills in communities. Though executives grumbled about costs, employee satisfaction soared. She invited Garrett to speak at the quarterly meeting. He stood before hundreds in work boots and flannel, so different from surrounding suits, and spoke about kindness. Every act multiplies, he said simply. You help one person, they help two more. It's exponential, more powerful than any business model. Unlike profit, it never runs dry. The room fell silent. Hardened executives wiped their eyes. Months passed. The program expanded. Elena spent less time in her office, more time meeting people her company served. She opened training facilities on weekends for free workshops. She hired 5 people from Garrett's neighborhood. But what changed most was Elena herself. Hard edges softened. Armor came down. She called her estranged aunt. She joined a support group. She allowed herself to be human again, vulnerable, connected. One Saturday evening, 6 months after that fateful night, Elena sat on the garage steps beside Garrett as Lily chased fireflies. The sun hung low, painting everything gold. You know what's strange, Elena said softly. I spent 5 years building an empire that meant nothing. Then 6 months learning to fix cars and serve soup, and suddenly, my life means something. Garrett nodded. Success isn't what we achieve, it's who we become. I was so lost. I thought I was found because I had money, power, respect, but I was the loneliest person in every room. She turned to him, eyes bright. You saved my life that night, Garrett. Not just by taking me somewhere safe, but by showing me life was worth living again. That kindness still exists, that I could still become someone my parents would be proud of. They're already proud, Garrett said gently. You're here. You're trying. You're choosing better. That's all any of us can do. Lily ran over, breathless, a firefly in her small hands. Miss Elena, look, I caught a light. Elena leaned down. It's beautiful, sweetheart. Uncle Garrett says we're like fireflies, Lily announced. We carry light inside, and when we share it, the whole world gets brighter. She opened her hands, and the firefly drifted upward, blinking. See? It's going to make someone else happy now. Elena watched the tiny light float into the darkening sky, feeling something shift permanently in her chest. This was the meaning she had desperately sought in boardrooms. It had been here all along, in small moments, in open hands, in light shared freely. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for showing me how to light up the darkness again." Garrett placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You were always the light, Elena. You just needed someone to remind you where the switch was." As stars emerged above them, Elena Sterling sat on garage steps beside a mechanic and his niece, and felt wealthier than ever before, not because of what she had, but who she'd become.
Not what she'd built, but what she learned to give away. Kindness, she discovered, was the only currency that mattered, the only success worth measuring, the only legacy worth leaving behind. And for the first time in 3 long years, she wasn't alone. True power doesn't come from wealth or status, but from the kindness we choose every day, the lives we touch, and the light we share. Every small act of compassion has the power to change everything. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, subscribe, and comment.